Welcome to the Brewtiful Game. As always, I am Blake here with Ferris.
Hola.
And joining us again from Beijing, we got Ron.
What's happening?
Our on the beat Chinese Super League reporter.
Yeah, right.
The mean streets of Beijing street reporter.
Yeah, so we did our opener Premier League pod. So now we're going to talk about the last couple of weekends of games. Maybe talk about our three teams. They all played again this weekend.
Yeah, they all played again this weekend. They've all been surrounded with some sort of controversy here, hither or there, with the exception, I guess, of Arsenal. It's been a very interesting opening 2.5-ish weeks of the Premier League.
I got a VAR thing for the Arsenal thing, but we'll get to that.
I think we'll definitely get into a little bit VAR. There were just a couple of games in the first few weeks that kind of just surrounded VAR and what everybody thinks of it and how it's applied and is it applied correctly and should we have it in the game? It slows the game down and all that nonsense.
And then, Ron, you were just saying you're now getting used to watching Premier League no longer at 8 in the morning, but 8 p.m. at night.
Yeah, it's easy to get used to because it's, nighttime game here. So, for instance, I watched the Chelsea match while having dinner. That was pretty great. And I don't know, there's something I miss about waking up and having a Premier
League beer is what he was going to say.
Is that what you were going to say, Ron? Ron.
He gone.
Hysterical. We'll call Ron right back. Okay. Through the magic of technology, we got Ron back. Okay, you were saying you
miss what?
You miss getting able to have. By the way, guys, look, you got to give us some slack. We're just a few idiots in a room doing international internet radio recording. We're gonna have hiccups as we
keyword few idiots.
Yeah, as we move along with this, it's gonna take some time because I'm only gonna edit part of that out because it was kind of funny. I wish we'd had a video of Ferris and I just staring at each other going, is he coming back?
Did he just pause for like dramatic effect?
That's funny.
Anyway,
I'm sure that leads to some entertaining moments.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
So you were saying you miss getting up in the morning for Premier League something.
Oh, yeah. So Premier League breakfast, it's a great tradition to, get up for the 7:30 match, throw some breakfast on, and have a stout or, something like that. And here it's much more like, it feels a little more like NFL because it's at night and you're having like beers and dinner with friends and things like that. So it's a little bit different vibe because it's at night. But ultimately, it's still the Premier League and it's still great. And it's super, super weird to not have Arlo White and the rest of the crew commentating. But I am slowly learning the way the Chinese are commentating because it's very, very overstated and very dramatic when they miss a pass or miss a shot, or it's pretty entertaining. When you guys come over here, we'll go out to some of my favorite haunts and we'll watch some Premier League games and you can see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I am now got my daughter just old enough that I have now dealt with the Frozen. So I was stuck with watching the opening games on my phone this morning until she took a nap during the right before the Arsenal Liverpool match. And I actually got to watch that on the big screen. That's my viewing life right now.
Well, all I can say is come to China and you can watch it like crazy.
Before we get to soccer, though, Ron, did you say you've got a beer?
Yeah,
you're going to talk about on your end.
Yeah, I do. You want me to go forward? You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead, because Ferris and I were waiting for you and cracked a Pacifico. So we should finish those off while you do that, and then we'll get into the two that I brought for us.
Oh, okay. So I have a brewery. I think I mentioned them on the last pod, Master Gao Brewing. They are from Nanjing. That's a province south of Beijing, and they're one of the more popular breweries, craft breweries. They have 6, 7 different styles, and I snagged one that is called Baby IPA. It's a baby India Pale Ale, supposed to be really hoppy, and it's 6.2 or 5.2% alcohol by volume. And I've never had it. The label is all pink, and it is got kind of a Chinese baby holding a fish on the label.
Awesome. You're gonna send us a picture, right?
Yeah, you have to send us a picture
so we can get it on the website.
I certainly will. So far, everything I've had from Nanjing Brewing has been really good. And they are, like I said, they're one of the more popular, kind of craft breweries in China. And surprisingly, there's way more than you expect. Every time I go to the grocery store, there's a new craft brewery, and there's a section of Beijing that is called the hutongs, and that's when China was going through their sort of feudal system. Families lived in big walled-in compounds.
No.
Walled-in compounds where they help to
Walled-in compounds. Okay.
administer CPR to each other 4 times a day in order to practice to keep people
Like Sisyphus. We're going to keep rolling this thing uphill.
We will roll until it cannot roll any further. Power of technology can also be a bitch of technology.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, so you were saying?
So I switched phones that I answered from. So hopefully this will be much easier for us.
Perfect.
And we won't have so many problems.
See? Hey, it happens. It happens to Wolf Bill Blitzer.
Exactly.
I only have 3 phones, so I figured I'd switch it up.
Gotta love work.
So where did I leave off? Sorry.
Walled off
in the compounds.
Okay. So they live the families lived in walled off compounds, and your entire generation, or many generations of families, would stay there, right? So you'd have like the youngest of kids, and then you'd have the great-great-grandparents. And so those walled off compounds are called hutongs. Well, today in Beijing, they're still there. They just turned them into like shopping and breweries and restaurants and all kinds of stuff. So every time I go to the hutongs, it's like this maze of history, and you always get lost. And every time I go there, I find a new brewery. So I went and bought a whole bunch of beers, and like take home style. Some of them can, some of them bottle. And we'll be able to do a whole bunch of Chinese beers. And then I have a friend who's going to come to Beijing. So I'm loading them up with beers to take back to the U.S., and then they'll hook up with you guys, and then we can all try the same Chinese beers.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
So
thinking outside the box.
Putting that plan together. But anyway, back to Baby IPA. Master Gao Brewing, like I said, I just sent you guys a picture over the chat.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
So have a look at the label.
Oh, yeah, it almost looks like the baby from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't remember who played that baby. Who was that? But
that is so random. It's awesome.
But doesn't it look kind of like from afar and one glance kind of look like that?
Oh, my God.
Oh, that's pretty entertaining.
The cigar smoking baby.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
So a Baby IPA at 9:30 in the morning here in Beijing. Here we go.
So that's what we did in the last pod. We were.
It was more like 8:30.
8:30. It was early beer. It was a good excuse.
Absolutely.
This is a pretty interesting IPA. It's it's not as hoppy until the end. The nose is very floral, not very citrusy, but very floral hops. And then your initial mouthfeel is very sweet and malty, and then it finishes out pretty hoppy. It's got a good color for an IPA. It's a little red, but by and large, this beer is pretty good. Starting off a Sunday right.
I love how crazy our Untapped is now.
Yeah, from everywhere.
I mean, it'd already been crazy with all the New Zealand stuff and everything that came in. Speaking of crazy, though, at least for us, I have some beers that you cannot get down here. This is from a listener, Jeff. He visited with his wife, Ferris, and I got to hang out with him briefly while they were down visiting. And we did a beer exchange. We actually gave them the Tupac Shaporter that we had on a previous episode. He actually just texted us saying, "Oh man, I'm cracking that beer now because I just was listening to your episode talking about the Tupac Shaporter."
Do you know one of the first things that he told me? Because I kind of ran up there in between two eatings that I had that day. And I went up there and saw him and he introduced me. Hi, how are you doing? Good. Very nice to meet you, so on and so forth. Hey, so we have some beer and we want to do an exchange. But before we do that, you have to drink shots of Moo Thunder with my wife before I can pass over this beer. And I was like, oh man. I was like, but first it came to my head is like, okay, I'll take one for the team. I'll do it for the pod if I have to. But I'm also like, okay, I'm also at work, so I can't do it right now. But if that's what it takes, I'll do it. And he's like, oh no, I'm just kidding. You don't worry about it.
Oh man, I'm so disappointed you couldn't do some Moo Thunder shots.
That is amazing.
That's hysterical.
He brought some cool stuff. Two things actually. One, we're going to save though, Ron, because I know you're supposed to be in town, possibly somewhere in the beginning of November. We'll save that one for face to face. But he did because that's a cool one.
Yes, that's a very cool one.
But this one, you're gonna dig this company's like style though, or just the way they do things. So here you go, Ferris. Here is a can of Metric from Industrial Arts Brewing Company.
Oh, cool! He was showing me this.
So, Ron, I don't know if you got a chance to look up Industrial Arts Brewing Company online.
Not yet.
Their cans are so cool. They use like the way you write chemical equations is sort of their logo.
Fun.
I'll give you a little information about them. Just their website's very simple. They're up in the Hudson Valley. It says, "We are brewers first and proud of it. We take quality seriously and our focus is on producing fresh, expressive American beers. Our team brews these modern classics in a sprawling pre-Civil War industrial complex in the lower Hudson Valley of New York, striking a contrast between tradition and innovation."
Wow, that sounds cool.
And this particular beer is called, let me pull it up. It's the Metric, but I'm going to pull up the write-up for it here on their website. Industrial Arts Metric. It's 4.7 ABV, classic, creamy, and herbaceous.
Herbaceous?
Ooh,
that's an SAT word.
Clean malt and refined noble hop character come together in the best way, repeatable. Ron, there is a beer they have that it's a double IPA that is named for you. It's called Industrial Arts Measure Twice, which I always...
that's brilliant.
I always think. Measure twice, cut once. All right. I cut
this thing twice and it's still too short.
So let's try this. Industrial Arts Metric. All right. The can is so cool, man. It's got like this, like I said, the chemical equation behind it. It's like all this like machinery, like an AutoCAD for like a machine design, as best way I can describe it. Like it's really cool looking.
Nice.
Excited to try these guys. And brewed in Garnerville, New York. All right. Ferris?
Garnerville. Yep.
Oh, man. It smells herbaceous. Or if you're from England, herbaceous.
Ooh, I got a little backsplash there. Woo. Nothing like a good taste of Pilsner in the eye.
All right. I'm going to pour this so we can get a shot of what this looks like.
Yeah. I think I'm going to do it at the can. Do it opposite. See how it does at the can. Ooh, I like it.
I like that it's a big pounder. I like the craft breweries doing the. That's actually twice for us now because we did the Tupac Shaporters, right?
Correct.
And so those were also pounders. Oh, man.
I'm trying to get back there because they have the Suck at Trebek in cans, and I don't know for how long.
Oh, yep.
So I'm trying to get back there and see if I can snag one.
We need a Suck at Trebek bad. Holy cow. This thing smells, you know, Pilsner Urquells have that like grassy smell, you know, those like, it's definitely got that vibe, but I feel like you usually don't smell that on Pilsners outside of Germany. Usually that's like a very Bavarian thing. Oh man, this looks beautiful. Ron, you would love this head retention.
Perfect.
It is.
Always love some good head retention.
All right, here you go, Ferris. Cheers, man.
Cilantro, man.
Oh,
that is good head retention.
Boom. Yeah, this thing's like a commercial.
Here we go. Whoa. That's not like any Pilsner I think I've ever had.
It smells like a traditional Pilsner, but it's got more hops.
It almost tastes like a Pilsner IPA mix.
Yeah. I could go with that. Yeah, it's very much got that vibe. Holy cow, man. That is a good freaking beer. Jeff, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Man,
if this is any indication of what the next one will taste like, we'll be in good company. Holy crap, that's good. Man.
It's going to be a fun drinking beer.
Yeah, it is. All right, now here's the thing I got to remember to do. We like to get good pictures of these beers, but Ron has been our photographer, so I feel like...
yeah, I'm trying to get one over here, and I'm struggling. And
I know, man.
I just sent you a picture of mine.
I know, and it's already better than what I'm doing, so shut up and just deal with it.
Oh, yeah, it actually is. A nice portrait mode. What kind of flowers are those, Ron?
Those are steel orchids.
Oh, but of course they are. With the Who Framed Roger Rabbit baby slightly blurred in the background.
Oh, funny.
Love it.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah, my service department, they come in and, you know, they clean and do all that kind of stuff. And they come in twice a week. And every week I get a new kind of surprise, whether it's flowers or cookies or they gave me an origami swan 2 weeks ago. But I just keep getting presents from the service staff.
It's amazing because here I am like going, okay, I think this is an okay picture. It's nice. It looks good in the Brewtiful Game glass. And then I get Ron's picture with
like,
the freaking orchids. Yeah. That guy looks gorgeous. I'm like, okay. Ron is still our official photographer all the way in Beijing.
Well, hey, think of it this way. When we're doing, I think this beer plan that we kind of came up with is good because I'll be able to shuttle some beers home that you guys can't get there. You'll be able to send some up here, and you can just rest assured that I'll take pictures.
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah, well, just please take the pictures in the beautiful setting sun or rising sun in Beijing, whichever way we're calling you. Dude, this beer, Jeff, is freaking great, man. Thank you,
tasty,
man. All right, so on to the Sakas. So where do you want to start this at, Ferris?
Let's just throw through. Let's talk through a couple games. We match week 1, and then we kind of roll into 2. I'm sure we'll get into 3. I'm sure we'll get into VAR. I'm sure we'll get into some rule changes.
Yeah, we talked about a few things.
All things Premier League as we are off and running, boys.
Yeah, man.
Boy, are we. I can't believe it's week 3 already.
Week 3, and of the 3 of us, I'm definitely winning the fantasy right now. But I don't know how things are going to be after this weekend.
I think you still are. I've moved up slightly, but having Rashford as my captain today didn't quite.
That did not pan out.
No, it did not.
So the first one you got up on here is Liverpool, and I was one of our British listeners, gentleman who gave us his little tour of his home club that he sent to us. He was like, listen to the latest pod. Love it. It's pronounced Norwich, by the way. Because I definitely think we were saying Norwich. Yeah.
Norwich.
So,
Norwich?
Yeah.
Like Nora, I have an itch?
I have...
Skip the W.
Yeah, I have...
Skip the W.
Norwich.
Yep.
Okay.
I have not...
Pulisic.
A bruised Norwich. Yes.
Pulisic to Norwich. Ooh.
Yep. By the way, today during the Chelsea game, the commentators were definitely going back and forth between Pulisic and Pulisic. And I thought of you.
They went to the Ferris School of Broadcasting.
I was
apparently.
Like, wait a minute. All right, so Liverpool at home, they open the books. Actually, the top two teams from last year open real strong days. Liverpool takes on Norwich 4-1. Liverpool's still good, y'all. Was this their second string goalkeeper they were on at this point?
No. So Alisson got hurt maybe the second half of this game.
Yeah.
I mean, Liverpool were still, I think, very much in the lead and controlling the game. But yeah, that injury when he went out was a very big scare, because we actually just got done talking about it on the pod, our preview pod, about how they really haven't sustained long-term injuries.
Yep.
They've had a couple, but not really to any of their big players. And Alisson was regarded as the best goalie of all of last year. That's a big player. And he got hurt in this and was later ruled out for, I think, somewhere in the range of 6 to 8 weeks. So Adrian, who was a free agent released by West Ham over the summer, was signed as their backup just a couple days actually before the deadline. And he came in and finished out the game and is currently their starting goalkeeper.
Yeah, that whole situation's a mess. But they opened this. I mean, everybody. Well, who isn't somebody on Liverpool? But I would say everybody who is somebody on Liverpool scored. Between
including
Salah,
Ogle,
Van Dijk, Origi, and then there was the own goal. That's right. But little did we know of what excitement was coming from a gentleman who had the name of Pukki,
Timu Pukki,
who scored a goal.
Well,
that would turn out to be pretty cool. Like this dude, he's going to have a good season. He's good.
And anybody that watched any bit of the championship last year and watched Norwich last year will be like, hey, we knew this was coming. We knew this was happening, because he lit up, and he was the striker in form and the best striker in the championship all of last year. And why they went and got automatic promotion to the Premier League was pretty much because of this man and his goals. And boy, can he score.
We like Norwich, right? They're cute.
There's
They're
no
the
reason not to like
Canaries.
them.
They're yellow and green.
They're yellow.
They're adorable.
They're fun. Yeah. Well, and they play a very fun style. And one of the things about this game that I think everybody liked is, yes, they're going to get beat 4-1. But when you're going to Anfield, first game back in the Premier League, you're not really expected to get a result. But they didn't sit back. They didn't have two banks of four and just wait to counter. Like, they went at them, and they played a little, they played a bit here. And that's what they're coming in to do. They play a fun style, expansive style, and they got to win in match week 2, and they almost beat Chelsea today. So the Premier League future of Norwich looks very bright at the current moment, especially with Timu Pukki putting the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, I think one of the things that makes them stand out, and I feel like this is starting to become more and more of a trend in teams that are promoted into the Premier League. They have less and less fear of the traditional, like, top 4, top 6 teams. So when you can see that when they're playing, when they played Chelsea today, they just don't have fear. They go out, they play, they put their heart and soul into it, and they have a good time, which is a great thing to watch. And so I kind of feel like that evens out the league a lot more. It makes more parity in the league, because I don't know. I don't know the right word for it, but that fear that teams would have to go to Manchester United and play at Old Trafford, or go to Liverpool.
Well, sure. They would go to those places and then kind of play like, maybe we can sit way back and try to eke a point. But on the other hand, nobody's going to do that against Liverpool. So you might as well go for it, man. Like,
yeah,
100%.
It's just great to watch.
They're going to be a ton of fun. And Pukki is, I'm sure, being snatched up on tons of fantasy teams right now out of nowhere.
Yeah, he was one that I almost added to my team and then thought second of it, and it's proved to not treat me right so far.
Yeah, he's currently the Golden Boot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he has 4, right? Five after today. Yeah, you're
Isn't
right.
that
You're right.
crazy?
Yeah, Raheem Sterling at 4, Ashley Barnes at 3, Liverpool's Mohamed Salah at 3 goals.
Yeah, and
That's your top 4 scoring leaders.
huh.
Speaking of those scoring leaders, number 4 is, or with 4 goals, you said. Next up, we have West Ham at home hosts Manchester City, and the team that took the league last year destroys West Ham. And luckily, Blake captained Raheem Sterling.
Yes, you did that last week. Very good call from you.
Got a hat trick. Jesus scored.
Aguero scored.
I mean, it just, yeah.
That front 3 just scored. And I think we talked about it on the preview pod as we kind of previewed later that morning, or on Sunday morning. They already played on Saturday, but Man City just gets off the mark with just what you expect from Man City. 5 goals, 0 against, just solid all the way around. And it kind of, seeing these first 2 games from each Man City, because I think they played the 7:30 early game on that Saturday, and then Liverpool played the Friday night game. Liverpool scores 4, Man City scores 5. It's like, okay, well, these 2 teams are just going to go at it again, and they're just going to throw haymaker after haymaker, and Man City did not disappoint. And although there was some VAR in this game, nothing was going to stop City from taking all 3 points in their first game.
No.
Nope, not at all. Especially to a new, to a slightly shaky to start West Ham in the beginning.
Yeah, they're looking a little unsure of themselves. Not that wasn't like a situation last year as well, but yeah, West Ham having some issues.
Yeah, and having, I think, a lot of midfield issues. Their best midfielder in this game was pulled off at like the 65th or 70th because he was just ragged, and that is former Arsenal player Jackie Wilshere.
That's right.
And that's pretty much their midfield. Him and Mark Noble, and
again,
name me somebody else in there right now.
This year, though, Jack Wilshere has played more Premier League minutes than I have. So he's started his season off well.
Ooh.
Very true.
That joke was like from episode 3.
Yeah.
Let's see. We'll burn through some more of these first weeks. Some of them we did talk about, but only know we talked about this one because of Billy Sharp.
No. Say it correctly.
Because
Billy Sharp. Billy Sharp came on in the second half of this game against Bournemouth. And Bournemouth go up 1-0 in the 62nd. In the 88th, though, Billy Sharp puts in a goal that is the ugliest, scrappiest, just welcome to the Premier League, Sheffield United and Billy Sharp, and just put it in the back of the net. And just, you can just go to YouTube or Google or wherever and just look at that and look at the excitement that he had and the pride that he had.
Traveling supporters,
and just you can tell that goal meant the world to him. That
first Premier League, first game,
it was so cool, so cool. And I'm glad Sheffield got a point, and we're going to talk about it here in a bit. And so far, this was a good win on the road to a Bournemouth team who at home, I'm sorry, a draw to a Bournemouth team who at home usually beat teams pretty good because they have a very expansive style, but very, very good for Sheffield United. Ron, did we lose you there?
No, I'm here.
Okay. Okay.
It's so funny. It got so quiet that we were like,
what's that?
I was letting Ferris go off on his guy love for Billy Sharp.
Yes. But you also added to the guy love with the cutlers and the cutleries and the knives and the blades and all of the fun Sheffield United like back history that not only built the club, but it just makes Billy Sharp the best player to ever play for this club.
I mean, you're probably not wrong.
If Billy Sharp keeps
just perfect player for this club,
scoring, he is going to blow the bleep budget for the show. And then next up, we've got when we recorded, had this game happened yet? No, you guys were about to go watch it. Yeah. Manchester United.
Right after this.
Man United versus Chelsea 4-0. I'll just go with the headline question that Ferris wrote. Ron, question mark?
Well, I mean, we knew it's going to be a shaky start to the season. We knew that Manchester United was going to, much like they did last year, come out of the gate with something to prove and then crumble like they have been. So I guess none of us are surprised. Every squirrel finds a nut. So Manchester United found a victory over Chelsea. It's a long season.
I think the way it goes. I think the real story is this is not losing to Man United, like you said, not necessarily a surprise. This is definitely a rebuilding situation for Chelsea.
But as is for United.
Well, but the real surprise was 4-0. Is Man United going to be for real? The answer is no. If you watch the next two games, it's not that way.
Yeah, I don't. Right. I don't think. I don't disagree with you.
It's rebuild time.
Right. They're not gonna. They're not quite the 4-0 against Chelsea here. But
all three of our clubs are in rebuild time.
Yeah,
that is where we all are.
We've been in rebuild for like 7 years since Sir Alex left.
That is true. That is true.
But one of the things
you guys just can't. You can't put it together. You just can't.
That's so weird.
Someone that will really pull it together for you. And I can't, we only go through a 2-year stitch. So we hire a manager, we win a Premier League for one, we get rid of them the next. So I really have no room to talk.
Yeah. And I mean, the one thing I did like is that with this game is there were signs of life there. And I think even in the next two games where we're going to talk about here in a bit where they got a draw and then a loss today, there are signs of life. It's just putting it all together. And the stat for the first 2 weeks for United is the lowest starting age average of any team in the Premier League. I don't mind that because that clearly shows we are trying to rebuild and that the summer plan of getting young and getting quality young players that have potential in the summer looks like that. Okay, it's going to take a while. But one of the things that I really liked in this game, if you saw Daniel James's goal, he came on late as a sub and ended up putting a goal in, and you just go and you watch the raw emotion and the passion and the love scoring on your debut for one of the biggest clubs in the world in the Stretford end a few weeks after your dad passes. Who always wanted him to go just watch his celebration. It wasn't anything fancy, but it was just raw, pure, just emotion. And that's what the Premier League's about.
Yeah, I think you've been missing that for quite some time over player controversies and manager controversies and all of that. One of the things that feels like it has been lacking, specifically at Manchester United and at Chelsea to a point, has been that raw passion. So it was actually really nice to see that. I think we could use a little more of that on Chelsea, considering all the controversy we've gone through in the recent 6 years. Yeah. So I think Manchester United and Chelsea are having similar problems in that respect. We each have our own technical issues about midfield problems or striking problems, but ultimately, I think both teams have a huge lack of passion at the moment, and so that, and when he scored today, James scored today, and you could see he just went over to the traveling supporters and just stood there and took it all in,
and that was the home support. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Especially when you get to these big clubs, there's so many players in and out. There's so many big transfers and players from other leagues that come in for these big fees that sometimes those homegrown passion and love for the badge and for the club, and it's an honor to be there, just kind of sometimes goes awry. And I think that's what Frankie, for you guys, is trying to bring back to Chelsea. And I think you do have some players that can do that, like who's a lad in midfield, Mount. I think he's one that that can kind of help, and somebody that Frank Lampard seems to really like and trust. He had him for a little bit at Derby County last year, as well as Tammy Abraham up front. Two people that have kind of been out on loan, but want to be at Chelsea, and this year they're going to get their chance to shine because Frank Lampard wants that young, hungry, let's play for the badge type, but also they can't really bring else anybody in because they're on that band still.
Well, an interesting thing was that today when Abraham scored the winning goal for Chelsea, he skipped over to Lampard. And what's interesting is the first three players to go over and celebrate with him were Mount, Pulisic, and Abraham. So that kind of gave me a good feeling for how we're going to move forward, that, you know, these younger players are celebrating with their manager. And I think that's a really important thing. I mean, look what it's done for Liverpool and Man City. Both of those teams who are just absolutely killing it right now. Rewind the clock, you know, what, 3-4 years ago, maybe 5, where all these players that were kind of new to the Premier League or just been in the Premier League for a bit, they're constantly over celebrating with the manager, and you could tell that the managers were as invested in the game as the players were. So I see that as a sign of good things to come for both Chelsea and Manchester United in that respect, because both of their managers, you can tell, have a lot of passion and a lot of heart. And hopefully that's really being transferred to the teams.
Well, he did a good job tactically, but that's one of the biggest things Jurgen Klopp did at Liverpool.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that changed the culture there completely.
Exactly.
And I do think that's where Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, there you go, I got it.
Yep.
And Frank Lampard, they both kind of have that thing going for them of being legends of the club that I hope it gives the teams the faith to stick through a little bit with them.
I certainly hope so.
And let them build, like, come on, what else are you going to do at this point? Like, let them build something, see what can happen, you know?
Yeah, but it's going to take time for both because, with all of that on their side and points that they're trying to get out of why they are in the roles that they're in, they also each of them don't have a lot of time under their belt in the managerial side of things. Both were brilliant players in their time, but for Frank Lampard only had a season with Derby County. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had a handful of games with Cardiff a few years back in the Premier League, and then has managed over in Sweden, I believe, Norway, right?
Norway is where he was at. Yeah,
Norway, and now is taking the helm at one of the biggest clubs in the world. So, do they have the tactical sense? Do they have the knowing when to sub sense? Do they have the knowing when to change styles, knowing when to change tactics? The player manager, player personnel, you know, those knowing when to push somebody up, and then when to kind of put an arm around them. So it's time's going to tell for each of them, because this is a very new thing, and it's a very new thing for each of them and each of the clubs in the biggest league in the world. So time's going to tell.
Does that move us to match week 2?
Mm-hmm.
Do some highlights.
I think so.
So that's up first. We got Arsenal 2-1 over Burnley. Ceballos. I always read it as Cabela's, like the sporting goods store. He shows real promise in this game to be a really good player going forward. For Arsenal, he's on loan right now from Real Madrid, but
with an option to buy. No,
Yeah, and I feel like he's a good fit. He seems to be a good fit with the crew.
he could be because again he's on loan, the long-term replacement for Ozil.
Yep.
And yeah, you're absolutely right. He against Burnley, who usually play very tight and tough, he had a fantastic debut at the Emirates and assisted Lacazette and Aubameyang for the goals. Two people that you want to get the ball to, and two people that you want to that Arsenal want to have put in the ball in the back of the net. They both started in this game, which was great. I think Pepe came on in the second half. The Lacazette goal in this was just, I really liked that goal. It wasn't a typical goal that you see Arsenal score. It was a scrappy, feisty, strong goal from Lacazette, who pretty much hit the ball while he was on the ground because he was just
Kept
hustling
moving.
with,
Yeah.
I don't remember which defender was there, and he basically scored a goal while he was laying on the ground with his feet. It was a very good goal, and that got him off the mark early, and it was a big win at home. They played much better than match week 1.
Which they also won, but
Yeah.
What's the deal with Ozil? So,
well,
what's the plan? He keeps getting snubbed. There was all these rumors of him being in hiding for gang-related.
we didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, that wasn't rumors. Him and Klassenach, we're under police protection for a little bit because there were threats to each of their lives, and why they didn't travel in match week 1 because of, what was it in July maybe they were carjacked, and Ozil just kind of sat in the car and Klassenach acted like Hulk and basically just scared off
he headbutted him.
Yeah, he scared him off, and because of that, it kind of started this weird gang war between these London gangs where they weren't supposed to be touched, and then there was threats, and you could find a couple of different stories on it, but the police basically said, "Hey, we need to have some protection around you because we think these are viable threats to your lives," and the club, to their credit, was like, okay, you guys, this is much bigger than bringing you guys up to Newcastle or having you guys come in and, So I think that was the first game, but I want to say that each were available for the second game at home, right?
Yes, and then Kolasinac started today.
Right, so I think that's kind of past
Ozil didn't travel.
Ozil did not travel, but here's the thing, man. Unai Emery, if you're not going to play, he seems to let you know. I don't know if you guys saw recently talking about our favorite, well, your favorite, not my favorite, German on the back line for Arsenal, Mustafi. That he was like, oh yeah, no, he should really start looking to do something else. Like, if he wants to play more, make a difference on the team, he should look at other things. I mean, he was blunt as could be to the press, saying Mustafi doesn't really have a place on the team. And I just think there's something he doesn't like about Ozil. And it might be a chemistry thing. But Ceballos, comes in to this game and, against Burnley, and he does what, as you said, Ferris, that's what Ozil would have done. Except Ozil, I mean, in the last 5 years, there would be these games where he was just amazing. And then he would just disappear.
Yeah. He wouldn't even be on the pitch.
Yeah, I think whatever the reason is, I just don't think Emery's done with him. So I don't think he'll be there after January.
Who?
So I'm reading an article in the Sun that was 3 days ago. The pair have been Kolasinac and Ozil are under 24-hour guard, or were under 24-hour guard in the harrowing attack in Golders Green last month. So that happened in July, like you said. The pair were ready to play. They were in hiding because a pair of knife-wielding thugs tried to carjack them. But apparently the gang that tried to carjack them was not on their turf. They were on a rival gang's turf. And so because this made news. The gang that was in the wrong spot are taking it out on Urzel and Kolasinac because they were. This makes no sense.
Yeah. It sounds like insert Liam Neeson into this, and you can have yourself one hell of an action movie.
Yeah, him and Vinnie Jones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Lock, stock, and two smoking gunners or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like,
Gooners.
but Kolasinac is like, bro, I'm the Bosnian Hulk. I'm from Bosnia. Your knives don't scare
And then
me.
Ozil was like, oh my God, what's going on?
I think
my hair gel's out of order.
I got a feeling after all that too, Ozil's just out. He's just out.
Yeah, which is sad because him, like Sanchez and some others, just such immense talent, but have kind of hit their peaks and are on the downslide. And
well, I think Ron's going to get a joy to watch Ozil in the Chinese Super League soon.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's see. That's so out of Arsenal, back to Norwich for the Pookie show, y'all.
Yeah.
It's 3-1 Norwich over Newcastle. Pookie is on fire.
And a natural hat trick on this, right, left, and a header. So very, 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 very good for Mr. Pookie and very fun to watch.
Can they hold on to him if he keeps this up? That's the question.
January, well, no, not Chelsea. They can't sign anybody.
Chelsea can't get him. No.
Can he sign for Man United? Because we could use some reinforcements at the moment. But
there's an interesting thing that I think about from time to time when right before the January transfer windows, right? Because so as any of you guys know, sports teams come down to chemistry, right? So you have your skill. And there are brilliant players that go to clubs that have no chemistry and they do nothing. Then you have these no-name players who come in and they just clean the place out. What I'm worried is that a team, no matter who it is, Manchester United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, whomever, they snag Pookie out, and then there's a huge downturn in his production because he doesn't have the same chemistry.
Well, right, and we don't even. I mean, we have no clue if any club's going to go in for him.
We're at that crucial point where we could all be talking about Pookie for the next, like, say, 4 weeks, 3 weeks, and then everyone figures out the game, and then all of a sudden, right, he is just shut out, which is a thing that can happen. And it might not even be a knock on him. It's they'll look at the rest of the team and figure out how to shut him down that way.
Right,
and then he disappears.
We've kind of seen this happen before. We've seen it happen with Callum Wilson to a degree. That's more so injuries. But Andy Carroll, when he was for Newcastle, he was a scoring machine in this new face. And then he went to some other clubs and he completely swan dived, right? So, I
just mean from the standpoint of everybody's like, oh, that's the new striker to get.
Right.
And I think that clamor for good, talented people in a January transfer window is a knee-jerk reaction.
Yes.
Because just because it's like the stock market, right? Past performance is not indicative of future result. So just because he's doing great at Norwich, it means he's got everything he needs at Norwich and the chemistry with the surrounding team to put him where he is. There's no guarantee that he's going to go to Leicester or Chelsea or Wolverhampton and be able to produce what he's producing.
Although Leicester would have been one I would have. That's one I would suggest. But I agree. I think it's going to be when the season's over. I think that's going to be the. I think. I mean, obviously, gosh, we're 3 weeks in. I know this is ridiculous to say. Norwich just feels like a team that can maybe stay up. And I think he can help. I think he can help do that. And it also
feels like the right club for him because he was only brought in the year before last, right before the championship season by Daniel Fark. He was a no-name. I think he was a free agent or he came in. It was something kind of weird from a very lowly club and was just nowhere. And then he came on the scoring. And
he's kind of got a Jamie Vardy story in that way. Yeah.
Yeah. And the team is, I don't want to say built around him, but is really built for him almost, because their style of play aids him and gets him into those positions and where they need to be and how they feed the ball to him. So I think it's just a very good fit overall. Kind of like, yeah, what you're saying earlier, the Jamie Vardy kind of feel, where that team and their style kind of fit him well, and he just exploded in the past few years, and he's still there. So,
and I wanted to keep scoring because I just like Pookie. That's a great name.
Yes. It's like wait, isn't there a Pookie Pies? Isn't that a thing in England?
Or Pookie? I don't know. Wasn't Pookie somebody on the Jersey Shore?
That was
gross.
Oh, what the hell was her name? Snooky?
Snooky. That's Snooky. It's a Snooky.
They're puka pies.
Puka Pies. Samsonite.
Yeah.
Way off.
Samsonite. Way off.
Anyone know from where?
Is that from Dave Fishwick's Burnley?
Nope.
Oh.
Puka pie?
Oh, God, look at that.
Yep.
Look at that picture when you first log onto their site.
Oh, that puka pie looks delicious.
That is some savory
What's
gravy
it from,
meat.
Ron?
It's in Leicester.
Oh, see, there you go.
Oh, there you go.
So see, I feel like Pookie needs to go to Leicester then.
Full circle.
Yep. Hanging out by the puka shop. It's puka.
I love the.
Oh, my God, guys. You understand what's about to happen? It is going to be Pookie's Puka Shop. And Nacho Monreal, Neo Nacho Shack.
Yeah. God, that is their most comfort food, no demand right there. Just shove it all in the...
They're two rival restaurants, and they're on adjacent corners to each other, and it's part of they have a rivalry, and that'll be the next episode, because Mrs. Miggins from the pie shop is coming in.
Yeah. Our Netflix BBC original series. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Oh, my God.
But a very good win. And we haven't really talked about it, but Newcastle here, oh, God, they look worse for wear so far this year, don't they?
I got to tell you, I think you had Rafa Benitez and people were willing to come sign up to play because they thought, I can learn something from this guy. They are just...
And their signings, Jolene or whatever his name is, it does not look great so far.
Newcastle feels like I don't know that I picked
no more
them.
Solomon Rondon.
I think I might have picked them.
I don't know if any, I can bring it up. I don't think any of us picked them, but they do not look.
Yeah. They feel like an early contender for Aston Villa of a couple years ago.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a tough time up there, and it doesn't look like it's going to be. Actually, Blake, you did pick Newcastle. You were the only one.
Because Rafa Benitez was not there. Yeah.
But moving on.
Sheffield United, Crystal Palace. Man, the Blades.
Yeah.
Guys, these pies look amazing. I want them right now.
They do. They look very savory.
Minced beef and onion, chicken and gravy, all steak.
Speaking of which, there's a fish and chip shop in Claremont, Florida that also does pies. New place to us. But our friend Jason likes going there, and they're expanding to add beers in their pub. And he's like, I got friends that do you guys do Premier League? Like, yeah, we always cut the Premier League games on. Tell them to come in and do an episode.
Love it.
Pies. Oh, man. That'd be awesome.
Love it.
So this means when I'm in town in November, we have to do a pie day.
Yeah.
Pie day and pod day. If we are
I'm down.
Equipped to do our first live pod at a pie shop, that's glorious.
That's a great name of a pie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, happiness on a plate.
Yes, it is. Sheffield United, the Blades, cut through the Crystal of Palace to win their first Premier League game. Billy Sharp did not get on the score sheet this game, but instead Lundstrom did in the 47th. And what a win at home. The support there and just well earned. And Sheffield United, again, kind of like Norwich, look like a team that is fighting to be like,
hang,
we're going to hang.
Yeah.
We're staying up. Still a very, very long year, of course, but a very good 3 points for Sheffield United.
It was so cool to watch Bramall Lane just go absolutely bonkers when this ball went in.
Yeah.
Just great. Their homestand, as we talked about on the preview pod, Sheffield United has the Bramall Lane, which holds 32,700 people, and every single one of them lost their minds. It was so great to see that.
Absolutely. It's going to be a fun year, and they're kind of my side club to watch and follow this year. I'm going to get one of their kits because they have some sharp kits.
Yeah, they do look cool. This rolls us on to Chelsea Leicester with your cheesy headline, mount up for a draw. As Chelsea and Leicester draw 1-1, because who scored for Chelsea?
Mount.
Mason
so far,
Mount.
most valuable player.
Wait, who scored for Chelsea?
Mason Mount.
Who?
Mason Mount.
Who?
Mason
I feel like that
Mount.
scene in Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm Star-Lord. Who? You never heard of me, Star-Lord? Because right now, the people that are scoring on Chelsea, I'm like, wait, who's that? Who's that guy? Because who scored today?
He was one of 700 people loaned out.
Well, that's
year.
the thing, right? Like, actually, a veteran of Chelsea of the last decade. But
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Right, but no one knows.
yeah. I'm like, who are these people?
Abraham is the other one. Tammy Abraham.
Yeah. And this was a game that is right down the 1-1. Chelsea pretty much owned the first half, probably about the first 30-ish or so. And then the Foxes of Leicester City owned the second half. And the stats kind of just ring that, just about 50-50 on possession. 5 shots on goal for Chelsea, 3 for Leicester, another 12 and 14. About even on fouls, like everything just right down the center. And this is kind of where Chelsea are going to see themselves struggling a bit with these teams like Leicester and Burnley and Wolves that are right there, right out of the top 6, that are really just fighting to get up there, and might look at Chelsea as, okay, they can't sign anybody, new manager, they might be there for the taking. But Ron, one thing that I still cannot get through my head, why do any manager at Chelsea not want to play N'Golo Kante where he should be played?
So in this one, I thought they actually played him much closer.
Yes.
Where he should be played. Not necessarily exact, but I don't understand and have not understood the allure of Jorginho anchoring the midfield. While I think he is got good vision and can place himself in the right spots to make plays, I don't think his vision is all that great. I don't think his speed is all that great. He is certainly not as accurate when he's shooting as N'Golo Kante is. So right now, this is the Pandora box mystery of Chelsea Football Club right now. I just don't get it. N'Golo Kante is probably the best midfield player in the Premier League for at least the past 2 to 3 seasons. His vision, his quality, his speed, his ability to clean up goals,
break up plays,
or take that break up plays, distribute the ball. I don't see what other people see in Jorginho and why they should replace N'Golo Kante with him.
How does the past 2 managers, though, not see what seemingly everybody else in media, fans, and whatnot see? Like, okay, why don't you just play him in his natural position? That's what won Leicester City the league. What? Like, why?
I don't know. Maybe it's a case of managers. I think there are 2 types of managers in the world. One is the manager who comes in with preconceived ideas and sticks to them whether they work or not, and tries to bend the players to his style of play, right? Maurizio Sarri is a prime example of that, right? Played all these players out of position, basically pounded his head against the wall the entire time. The other type of manager is the one that comes in, observes players, comes in with an idea of what they want to do, but are willing to scrap it, change it, alter it, fix it, to the talent that he actually has in front of him, instead of trying to fit the talent square peg round hole style. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I think the last few managers at Chelsea, I think Antonio Conte was the person who played him in the best place, and we won the league. And we out of the past, including Lampard now, and I realize that this is a little bit of an unfair statement, only in the respect that he hasn't really coached us very long or managed us very long. I think Antonio Conte was the only one who had the smarts to play him in the position that he was best suited for. Hopefully, we figure that out sooner rather than later, that Jorginho should be playing the supporting role to Conte and not the other way around.
Did Conte, did he play today with
I'm not sure.
with Chelsea? Well, who did Chelsea play? I'm losing my mind. Norwich. They played Norwich today, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't understand that at all.
It's mind-boggling.
It's still adversely affecting the team, and unfortunately, no one's noticed it.
Yeah, you have plenty of clubs that are like, oh, if you don't want to play him where he should play, I will take him off your hands for you gladly.
Now, Conte didn't start in this match because he's out due to injury.
Okay.
So that I totally understand. But the first two matches, he's played out of position. That doesn't make sense to me.
You guys still have Batshuayi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just realized he was on your bench today. I'll be darned.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't let him go back out.
The only
He's still
reason,
back, yeah.
The only reason he's not playing is because Tammy Abraham is on fire.
Yeah.
Well, now he's on fire.
You're right.
Right. Because he had not scored the first two matches, but then scored.
Did anybody think
today.
the game of the week would be Norwich versus Chelsea? That game was freaking a blast to watch.
Yeah, that was a lot
yeah.
of fun.
Oh my God, that was so much fun today. Let's see. Moving on, still from week 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers, Manchester United 1-1.
First Monday night game.
Pogba having some performance issues, and we ain't talking about Viagra.
No, we are not.
Yep, and I called that in the Premier League preview.
You did, actually.
I think he's going to continue to struggle until Manchester figures out their midfield issues.
Well, here's the first game and second game, Pogba had a really, really good game. He directly impacted at least 2 or 3 goals in the Chelsea match and played a wonderful ball over the top to, I believe, Luke Shaw for the opening goal in this for Anthony Martial, who has the number 9 shirt and is playing up front. Where it came is the penalty problems for Pogba. The big issue in this game came because in the first game, Marcus Rashford took the penalty and buried it. And he has not missed one up until today in the Premier League. And Pogba, he got himself into the box, good moves, good whatever, and kind of drew the foul and earned the pen. Well, he had a discussion with Rashford. It wasn't a mean discussion. It wasn't them arguing back and forth or whatnot. It was just, okay, Pogba, you take it. Yep. He stepped up and got it saved. Didn't just miss it, but got it saved. And the media, this just went crazy for this past next week.
It's not like he'd do it again.
Well, it just... For what?
It's not like he's going to miss another penalty right after this.
Right, I mean, but people miss penalties all the time. And it's... Because he took it off what Marcus Rashford made one the week before, and then it was, okay, well, who's the designated penalty kick taker? And Ole came out and the press conference said, well, they both are. And that may be a cop-out answer, or that may be a different way of handling this, because most designate one, and if they're not on the field, they designate, here's the backup option. But
then it turned around, Rashford
missed it today. Yeah.
Missed his.
Shankopotamus right off the post.
Shankopotamus Rex. I haven't heard that in forever.
That's not a real shank. I mean, he hit the ball well.
No.
He just hit the post. But
Shankopotamus Rex. Why would you bring out Shankopotamus Rex?
No,
You were so busy thinking.
You missed the penalty. You did not hit the ball well. It's either you hit the ball well and made it, or you didn't. There's no I hit the ball well but missed.
But no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying a shank. A shank. It didn't sail wide. It didn't sail over the top. It didn't sail wide. It didn't sail over. He didn't completely miss the goal. He hit the post. It was a miss, yes, but I wouldn't consider it a shank.
I completely shank.
It's Carlos Rivas used to shank him all the damn time here, and for us,
no,
he did not. Carlos Rivas that.
Carlos Rivas just put the ball in orbit. He was waiting for the second orbit to score.
Yes.
There's a difference.
Anyways,
we're
back
bringing
to this game.
We're bringing Shankopotamus Rex back. That makes me happy. Oh my god!
One thing I will say is
you were so busy trying to make Shankopotamus Rex. You didn't think to ask if you should.
What are they keeping there? King Kong?
I'm just saying. Life finds a way.
but that ball did not.
No, it did not. Ruben Neves with a worldly goal in this off a very well played corner for the Wolves. Then went to VAR, debatable on offsides. All the images they were showing on TV looked like somebody was offsides before the goal, but I don't know. Apparently not. Anyways, worldly goal. And then that drew it 1-1, and then Pogba missed the penalty where we could have gone on to win it 2-1. So then, all of the nonsense that has kind of occurred this past week. I'm fine if both of them are the penalty kick takers. You kind of let them decide. Okay, it's an unconventional way of doing it, but okay, I get it. One thing that I will say, and something that is really just wrong with the social media world and a lot of what the Premier League and FIFA and whoever else has been trying to kick out is the racial abuse that was directed towards Pogba on Twitter, I believe, was absolutely appalling. And apparently that happened again today with Rashford.
Did it? I didn't see
and
that.
I know representatives, or at least I don't know, but the reports were that representatives of Twitter met with Manchester United officials last week to work through some stuff and try to hold those accountable that are making these just insanely.
Oh yeah, if they're season ticket holders, they're out now.
The guy missed a penalty, but. Were we all mad as fans? Yeah, we were all mad, but to throw somebody's race into it and it's
a load of crap because if he'd have scored that one, you know what I'm saying? Like
exactly, it doesn't happen. It's so wrong, and I hope they catch these cyber bully racist bastards and hold them accountable.
And what happens when Pogba's gone? You gonna have somebody to replace him with?
Well, it was Rashford today, and
I'm saying,
it's ridiculous. But anyways,
it's so sad.
Good midweek draw for Wolverhampton Wanderers, who have been on a nice streak and have won a lot of their Europa League qualifying games. And they had, I believe, they played Torino after this game in midweek and came up with a big win. So they're just rolling along, the Wolves.
Yeah, they're doing well.
I'm telling you. Top four. Leicester-ish prediction.
Oh.
You keep having some of that Who Framed Roger Rabbit baby beer there.
It's possible if we can keep having matches like the next one, which is Man City drawing Tottenham 2-2.
What a fun match this was.
Despite 30 shots from Manchester City.
I love your headline, VA draw. Yeah, this was a blast.
Yeah,
of a match to
a lot
watch.
Of fun.
VAR gets a little weird in things.
Yeah, it does.
It makes the call. It makes the
yes. Before that, big substitution from Poch. Lucas Moura comes on in the 56 and scores in the 56. He's literally on the pitch for 19 seconds and draws it level at 2-2 off of a corner. But then 2 couple things came in here that are two new rules that completely just threw this game just into one of those insane spectacle type games. One was Sergio Aguero being subbed off.
Oh, and then he went bananas
with Pep on the sideline. But the rule with that is when he was coming off, he didn't go to the nearest point of the pitch.
Right.
So the rule is basically the wasting of time to, if the player's on the other side of the field, to leisurely take their time off to the bench and to where they're being subbed. That rule's been changed, and the desire to reduce the obvious time is fully understandable, and players have become accustomed to that. But I believe the refs now, they basically put it in the referee's hands to tell them where to go now based on what the game is doing, essentially. So if you're at home, in this case, they were, and you were up, or you were on a momentum swing, you would tell Sergio, just leave on that side of the pitch and walk around. That didn't happen. But then, yes, it led to the blow up at Pep, and they exchanged a few words, and that looked ugly for a little bit.
Yeah, that looked a little well, and I think it's newsworthy probably anytime, but when everyone's pretty much of the consensus, and so far the opening three matches dictate this, that the Premier League is going to come down most likely between Liverpool and Man City again. Considering it was by literally the smallest of margins last year, as if Liverpool had won the game instead of Man City earlier in the season, Liverpool wins, right? Stuff like this is huge because I think it's going to be a very thin margin between the two of them again.
Yeah.
This is the kind of stuff that they can look back and go, also this game, they can look back and go, these are drop points that they really needed.
Yeah. And drop points because the sub that came on for Sergio Aguero was Gabriel Jesus. And in the, I don't even know what it was, 88th, 90th, 90 plus 1, somewhere in that range, he scored a goal off the corner, and it looked like, all right, City pulled it out, 3-2, and I don't think anybody first thought this goal should be VAR-able. It looked like a perfectly good goal. And then all of a sudden, the commentators are like, well, hold on a second. I think we're going to VAR for this, because every goal is now VAR checked, regardless. And sure enough, the goal was called back on something that a lot of people are like, really? Seriously? Because of that? Come on. But according to the new rule with accidental handballs, it was by the letter of the law. So any goal scored directly from the hand or arm, even if accidental, a player creating a goal scoring opportunity after having gained control of the ball using hand or arm, even if accidental, will no longer be allowed. So essentially, if any player on your team, if it's accidental or not, the ball touches their hand and then that leads to, or arm, that leads to a goal, it will be called off. And Adrian Laporte, Aymeric Laporte, it grazed off of his, upper bicep shoulder as he was trying to head the ball and was in a challenge with another Tottenham player. It grazed his arm, fell to Jesus' foot. Jesus had to kind of do a little bit with it and then curled it around. But because it led to a goal, it was called off. And the ground's like, what the hell?
VAR.
Everybody's like, what the hell? Because nobody saw it at first. I don't think anybody saw it at first and be like, oh, that's a handball. Don't call that. It was just so conspicuous. Like it was so weird.
It's definitely thrown some things off. There was no controversial call in today's match, Liverpool and Arsenal, but there was one that they're like, oh, we're going to wait to see if there's a red card now. And there was a question if there was going to be a red card in the box against Arsenal. And then Nothing happened. Virgil van Dijk was saying it should be a red card. And the guy takes his hand off his ear. We're starting to move on. Oh, no, wait. He's still talking to the booth. Okay, we're moving on. Nope, his hand's back to his ear again. And you're like, well, is it or isn't it? Like,
let's make up our
it was only between
minds and move on.
And I'm kind of glad it wasn't called. One, Liverpool's going to win that game anyway. But two, it felt like, I'm like, if you're looking at it that hard, if this gets called a red card, it is going to be the thinnest kind of thing that would never be called run of play, only on VAR.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, I still some, I don't want to say kinks because, as you said, letter of the law, that was a handball. So it's making the right call, but I do feel like there's just, I'm just getting used to it or whatever you want to call it, working with the VAR booth, and getting it to run a bit smoother.
So are we getting into VAR now? Because I have a few.
Might as well.
I mean, off of that game, I will say this. I like there being one guy in the booth as opposed to the people in the booth in the MLS, and then they have to run to the sideline, and the head ref's got to watch it. Like, I like that the guy in the booth can just call it and move on. I do like that better than MLS style.
Well, they do still, they will still invite the head ref to go look at a TV screen. They just don't always go do it.
Yes, they don't feel it. Whereas in
have
MLS,
they done it yet in the Premier League?
They're always going.
No,
I have not seen it yet.
Either.
Yeah.
Not yet, but it is. So I've been doing a lot of reading on the VAR for the EPL, and that is in there in the rules that they can go look at the footage themselves to figure it out if they so choose. Now, one of the reasons a lot of the referees don't is because they think it holds up the game too long, which I kind of understand that.
I agree. That's what we don't like in MLS, the way it
Correct.
runs. Yeah.
Correct. But I would say that the most effective use of VAR that we have seen in world football has been the World Cup. The Men's World Cup used VAR exceptionally well. The Women's World Cup of this past summer didn't use it very well. And I don't think the Premier League is using it all that well. While their calls may be correct, they are dragging on the game for forever.
Right. And the World Cup, Men's World Cup, the previous one did not feel that way. We were all talking about how good the VAR was working out in that. It was astonishing, and hoping then that everybody else would kind of run as smooth, but it's not quite been the case.
Right. So the VAR is for goals. Every goal is under review, as Ferris has previously stated. Penalties, anything from people encroaching the line to the keeper coming off his line. Straight red cards for violent conduct or dangerous tackles are all being looked at and could be reversed. Second
kicks.
Yellows. Hold on, I'm getting there.
Oh, gotcha.
Straight red cards and second. This is interesting. A second yellow card is not reviewable, but a straight red is. Terms of mistaken identity, which they keep putting that in there, but has there been that? I can't recall that much mistaken identity when penalties are being given out.
Not so much in the modern game. Yeah, no.
It used to happen, but yeah, it's, like I said, not so much now.
So for the Premier League, the VAR people are not in the stadium. They are in Stockley Park in southwest London. That's where all of the games, video feeds and camera feeds go to.
You mean the feeds that did not work today? I don't know if you guys watched those, but that was...
Isn't the first time this season, right? Because didn't they not work in another game?
Yeah,
they match week 1 or 2? Yeah.
Replays, they couldn't get to work. Yeah, it was a mess today, yeah.
Yeah. And I find the outcry from fans very interesting. Fans are saying things like it takes a long time to make the decision and disrupts the flow of the match. I kind of agree on that. Not in all cases, but in some. One thing that happens here in the U.S. too is that spectators are in-stadium spectators are not always aware when a decision is being reviewed, nor do they always know what the outcome is. And that is rampant in many places.
So that's interesting you say that, because I can't remember if this was in the Two Robbies podcast recently or if it was, I was listening to Sirius FC, but they were saying the problem with the way it's being done is the fan experience at home is becoming better than that in the stadium, which you and I have complained about at the MLS game, saying it sucks that if we were sitting at home, we know what was going on right now, but we have no idea why something was turned over or confirmed, whatever. And they made the same complaint that we were making at MLS games about that.
Now, also another interesting thing is that much like the MLS, the VAR is put up on the decision to do VAR is put up on a graphic on big screens.
It's a very slick graphic.
Now, the problem is that not all of the Premier League stadiums have big screen TVs, including Manchester United and Anfield. They don't have big screens.
Yeah.
And for the stadiums that do have big screens, they are not re-showing the replay or showing the replay of what happened so that fans can be educated, because they say it, quote, could influence the referee.
Right. And I don't think that happens in any league or any tournament. I think it's just across the board with that, because that doesn't happen here. I don't believe that happened in the Women's World Cup or the Men's World Cup.
I agree with you, and it's still horse.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right, because the fan, who is, just like we just said, the home experience is much more educated when things are going on than the person who paid a boatload of money to go sit in that seat.
And you know what? If the ref can't do his job without being influenced by this, then don't do the job. I don't understand that.
Right.
Like, that's that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. And then other fans' complaints are, you are seeing something in super ultra slow motion. You are seeing things in the footage in as slow as a 24th of a second. The frame rate of the camera is, 24 frames a second. So you can see something in a 24th of a second, and you can tell if something's a millimeter off or an inch off. Whereas with the normal naked eye, you'd never have been able to do it. So that's what fans are really complaining about.
It works better. That actually is a really good example. In the NFL, that is a game that every play starts static and then goes dynamic. And so those millimeters and those slow motion replays, they make way more sense. Whereas since soccer is constantly in motion and fluid, that it just doesn't, you run into this, right, where you're taking away that fluidity. I don't know. But the NFL, they had instant replay. They did it too much, and then it went away. And then there were some bad calls for a couple of years, and then they brought it back, but they brought it back in probably the best way it's ever been, in a more limited capacity for just certain things. We're probably going to complain about VAR for the next year or two. It's going to probably take a bit to get good, except I don't know why the World Cup was so good.
Yeah,
a few years ago, a couple of years ago.
Especially when it was so new at the time.
I think the World Cup is under more scrutiny than anything.
Are you saying it's just Jim in the van watching? Oh, pass me on a puka pie. Oh no, slow it down.
You think this bloke fouled the other bloke? Yeah, come on.
Oh no, did he get in before he nutted that ball?
Hey, which team does your mom support? Right? Oh, that team. All right, yeah, we'll go against that. That works.
No, I do think, however, that FIFA in the Men's World Cup had to get it right, because if they didn't, it would have been an all-out revolt against FIFA, with all of the controversy with Sepp Blatter going on at the time, all of the other financial issues and financial fair play rules that were being completely obliterated by the various soccer federations around the world under the FIFA, oversight. I think they had to get it right. in order to not create an all-out revolt. The problem is that none of the other teams, or other leagues, seem to be honestly learning from how the VAR was done for the World Cup.
Oh, I disagree. I think Bundesliga, who started it first prior to the World Cup, I think they do it, I have to be
much better.
I've not watched it much this year, but when that first year they instituted, they were doing it great.
Much better.
It was fast.
Yeah, you're right.
And the other thing that FIFA was trying to do that year is they were trying to sell it on the rest of the leagues and tournaments throughout the world. Because it was so new, and but part of their selling was we got to get this right, and by all accounts they did, and do other leagues or tournaments
right.
As you say, learn from that, and a few have and a few haven't.
Can you pull it off if you don't have the support FIFA put behind it?
Right.
If you just got Jim in the van.
Hello, Jim.
Oh, what did you just do? Oh, no, I dropped a bit of pie on that button. Hold on.
Listen. Hey, that man's shirt sleeve, I think it was offsides. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and call back. Go ahead. Call him.
I think VAR is going to be the topic of discussion for a long time.
Yep.
Long time.
I think there are some things that the fans have right, especially in the MLS, when they say, if you have to sit at that monitor and watch it from 10 different angles and then go back and spend another 4 minutes studying it, it is not a clear and obvious error.
I think that is the phrase that refs lose. Arlo White said it several times in the last few weeks. Clear and obvious error. If that's not the case, then move on.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If you have to study it and write a dissertation on the call, then you should move on.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Before we move on, do we mention any of the games that happened so far this weekend?
I think we've talked about Chelsea's win.
Manchester United lost.
Manchester United did lose. They lost to Crystal Palace at home. It was the first time in the Premier League era that a team actually won a game at Old Trafford in stoppage time, in what is considered Fergie time.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Chelsea.
I don't know. I don't really want to go into a whole lot about that game. It's going to make me more mad. So
Chelsea fielded the youngest team they had ever fielded since 1994.
Correct. Yeah, they did. They did.
Saw that. Arsenal. On my quick take on that is. It's Liverpool. I think I've picked them to win the league. I think they have shown in this game how good they are. God, their wingers just dropping those balls in. They hit like 9 corners in no time. They're good. They're really good. I don't have much to say on Arsenal in this because we still don't have our new signer defender starting yet. And Lacazette didn't start. Ceballos did start.
Weird. How come? Why didn't
Nani?
start?
But Nani. Pepe started. I don't know. I don't have much of a takeaway on that.
You guys have the same. I have the same question of Arsenal as Ferris did of Chelsea. Why aren't you playing your 2 best strikers as a 2-man team up front? Every time they have completely annihilated the place.
I think
you don't play them together.
I think today starting Pepe, it's like for whatever reason
play all 3 of them.
They went with something different. I'm not sure why. I don't know why.
Because Emery tries to outthink himself sometimes.
Yeah,
he tries to out-tactilize.
Is that a word?
I made that one up.
Is that a word?
Yeah, I kind of gave Blake that's not a real word. We're going to roll with it here. Look. He tries.
That's brilliant.
Strategery.
It's strategery.
But he tries to outthink himself. And, we got to go. We're going to Anfield, so we got to do this. We got to move this. We got to do this. And it's like, well, no, just play your 3 best players and get on with the game.
Yeah.
Allow them to gel. And how else are they going to gel? How else are they going to put balls in the back of the net? The defense there is already poor. Midfield is so-so. But let at least the 3 best players on your team have a chance to play together.
I will say this. For the first half, they were doing an okay job disrupting that final third with Liverpool, but then they just couldn't hold on to it. Liverpool's good. Yeah. God, they're good.
Liverpool has a way of, it feels like they play well in the first half and they size up a team. And then when they come back after the half,
Yeah.
It's like they've downloaded the entire, like Matrix style. They've downloaded the entire way to play the rest of the game, and then they just grind you into the pavement.
Yeah, no, I agree absolutely. If I had one takeaway that was a positive for me, was that Arsenal continued to play through the whole game, which normally they had a real bad habit of, it's the 34th minute, we've been scored on, I'll give up, in years past. And I was like, you guys kept going. You're going to lose, but thank you for at least playing still. Like, that was the only takeaway I took from that, really.
And Nicolas Pepe becomes the first player to dribble past Virgil van Dijk in 50 Premier League games.
See,
that's a stat for
that
him.
is a stat. Man, those two were adding. Awesome. They were like, that was fun to watch. Virgil van Dijk on Pepe.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch a whole lot of the game.
I feel like here's where I think Arsenal can get in the top four. They're gonna, I think, be really good against everybody that isn't Liverpool, Manchester City, and maybe Tottenham. But I think they're I think their setup can be competitive to everybody else. But they're not going to shoot those guys, I don't think.
Some other notable games, though, from this Saturday, the 24th, match week 3. Southampton get their first win. A 2-0 win over Brighton.
A lot of passion on the pitch.
Yeah, a kind of early-ish red card from Brighton in the 30th. Leicester and Sheffield United played to a very fun game. I didn't get to watch this because I was trying to watch Manchester United blow any chance of trying to win the game. But Leicester beat Sheffield United 2-1. And then West Ham get their first win, beat Watford. Watford's not really looking too hot so far.
No, they're not.
I don't think they've won a single game or even drawn, maybe.
Well,
they may have drawn one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they've lost.
They're sitting at 0 points at the bottom of the league.
There you go,
next to Newcastle.
And we got to throw Matt some love and say that opening game of the week for Aston Villa, winning their first Premier League game in 3 years.
Yep. And Jack Grealish gets a win, which was any game he's been a part of for Villa, they have not won a Premier League game or something to that extent.
Some weird stat, but they win 2-0 over Everton, which that actually, to be honest, is huge because Everton's got a great defense.
They're not looking like they're...
that didn't make any sense. Yeah.
And Sebastian Haller for West Ham, the new big name striker signing for them, gets a brace in the Watford game. So some fun games so far. We got 3 more tomorrow, I believe. And then on to the next match week. So
Bournemouth and Man City first up tomorrow morning.
Tottenham, Newcastle, and then Wolves and Burnley. The Wolves and Burnley match, surprisingly,
that should be fun.
That should be the fun. That should be the more fun match of the day, I would think. Again, we've said it in our prediction pod, but man, places 3rd through 6th, maybe even 3rd through 7th. Whew, that is going to be just a knockdown, drag out battle for the whole season.
Yep.
And I think 1st and 2nd will be too, but I do think just like last year, there's going to be a nice gap between 2nd and 3rd when it's all said and done.
It's looking like it's going to be that way, but still very young in the season.
Before we wrap up, Ferris, do you want to do your new segment?
Sure.
All right. How do you pronounce what you've called it?
Okay, so the League Uz Roundup. So this is kind of a roundup from the other 4 big leagues across the continent of Europe. Bundesliga, La Liga, Ligue 1, and Serie A. So the only one I didn't hit in this is, actually the 2 I didn't hit in this. Ligue 1, they started last week. I didn't get to them. And then the Serie A started today. But the Bundesliga started last week, and after match week 1 in the Bundesliga, Hertha Berlin spoiled the champs' day out, grabbing a point from Bayern in a 2-2 draw. That was a Friday night game, fun game. Dortmund wastes no time getting off the mark by putting 5 goals past Augsburg, and then RB Leipzig welcomed new boys FC Union Berlin to the league with a 4-0 vibrant win on the host debut.
I play for RB Leipzig on FIFA.
Jesse Marsh is there, the former New York Red Bull coach. So that was match week 1. Match week 2 is currently happening. I know Dortmund got off to a 3-1 win yesterday on Friday, and then I'm not quite sure of the results today, but next pod we'll have some more roundup from the Bundesliga. And then the other league that got kicked off again last week was La Liga. And on match week 1, thank you, Ron. Match week 1 turns up some early surprises as a Messi-less Barcelona lose 1-0 against Athletic Bilbao. And then Gareth Bale not only starts for Real Madrid, but is a shining light in their 3-1 win over Celta Vigo. All the news, Bale and what's his name? Zidane, yeah, does not want him, and he's out, and got to get rid of him. Yet he starts and he plays very well. Didn't get a goal, but grabbed an assist, created play, and played very well. And then a Villarreal and Granada play out a very fun, crazy 4-4 draw, which I think is the first time it's happened in La Liga in like number of years. Like, it's been forever. So a fun game.
That was
there.
A goal fest. What
yeah,
a fun match.
Some penalties in that, and just goals all over the place. And then
I got to watch it.
Did you?
Yeah, because there's a crazy soccer package he's got there in China.
That's right.
I get it all.
I just signed up for the Hulu Live. Not that they sponsor us, but if you want to, go ahead to do my TV now, because I'd cut cable, and that's actually pretty awesome day watching the matches.
Nice, man.
Yeah, I that's how I get to watch a bunch of them.
And then
when I'm not at home, I can be anywhere with internet and crank that on.
Yep.
With Hulu.
That's the cool thing about having to cut the cord. Is it's all stream, internet based, phones, iPads,
especially the way we work,
Fire Sticks.
It's nice to be able to know I can slap a game on anytime, whenever.
Exactly. And then Atletico Madrid win 1-0 over Getafe on the back of new boys Joao Felix and Kieran Trippier. He had a lovely assist in this, and then Joao Felix looked like every bit of $126 million signing that came in. He looked fantastic in this. So a pretty fun match week 1 in La Liga. Match week 2 is currently happening. But there is your La Liga's roundup.
Boom. Thank you, Ferris. I like the La Liga's roundup. That's a good call.
I got a little Chinese Super League if you want it.
Sweet.
Do it.
So I'll just go over the table real fast. Guangzhou Evergrande FC has been pulled 5 points ahead of Beijing Guan. Currently, Guangzhou FC has won 4 of their last 5. They're winless. They drew 1-4. That's what I'm trying to say. Whereas Beijing Guan dropped 3 of their last 5 matches.
That's my club in the Chinese league. That's the scarf that you got me.
Yep. So believe me, it's been a little rough road for Beijing Guan lately, especially since their last 4 matches have all been on the road. They don't come back home until mid-September, so they're on quite a adventure on the road. Shanghai East takes 3rd in the table. They've drawn 4 of their last 5, and then Shandong Longwen. They're in 4th, winning 2, losing 3 of their last 5, and then sitting way down at the bottom of the table. The Chinese Super League only relegates the bottom 2 teams, not 3. So Shenzhen FC is sitting on 18 points, lost their last 3 in a row, and then the other Beijing team, Beijing Renyi. They are sitting at the bottom, the basement, at 12 points, losing 4 of their last 5 and only drawing 1 of those matches. So there's quite a stark difference between 1 and 16. It's almost 37 points. So it's been a fun, entertaining time. The Chinese Super League is about to pick up games in a hurry here because the weather is getting better. In the summer, they tend to string the games out a little more because it's so hot. But now that the fall is coming, these teams have 2, sometimes 3 games a week.
Woo.
In order to make up the schedule. So yeah.
Well,
so
I'm going to look up a stat and see what other soccer podcasts in America are covering Chinese Super League. We might be the only one. And if we are,
I haven't seen one.
I'm changing our description on iTunes to #1 coverage of American coverage of Chinese Super League. That's what I'm going to do.
Anyway, we can get not viewers, listenership.
There you go.
Would be.
There you go. Well, I think that wraps us up. So, again, if you want to follow us, we're on all the social media platforms. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, especially Untapped. We're going to get all these cool beers on there. Also, if you go to our website, thebrutifulgame.com, not only can you listen to the episodes, but Ron has just updated our beer list. So now we've got an updated beer list for all 125 previous episodes. So you can see which beer paths we have been on. I think that's all of them. Yeah.
And thank you, Jeff.
Thank
you, Jeff.
Oh, yeah, Jeff, for this listener beer. This metric from Industrial Arts.
Real nice, Clark.
Great. Yeah.
Also, the end of this week, the Adventure Beer beer blog will be up on our website. So I've been working on it pretty steadily since we talked about it on the last pod. So I think at the end of this week, I'm just calling it the Adventure Beer blog, and it'll be up on our website, and I'll make sure to put the link on all the social media.
Sweet. Will that be like
awesome, man?
Another page on our like another tab on our website?
Yeah. So it'll be another page that you can, just like our beer blog, you click on that, and then it shows a list of all the beers we've had and links to the podcast. But the Adventure Beer blog will be, you click on that, and then it'll have a little map of different places. You click on the map of the place that you want to see, and it'll list all the beers we had there.
Sweet.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I've been working on it pretty steadily. I'm hoping to have it up by the end of the week.
Thanks, man.
All right, gentlemen. So you know what that means, don't you? If it's time to end this pod.
Oh,
did you get a new book yet?
I didn't get a new book, but I got a little bit of help.
Okay.
Yep, I got a little bit of help
from Dad Central.
No. Someone sent me a good one. Here we go.
All right.
Are you guys ready? Because we like to end the pod on a strong note. I had a dream last night. The ocean was filled with orange soda. It was a fantasy.
Damn it.
Yes. Love the beer, cherish the game. The Brewtiful Game.
I think I'm having a stroke.
Good to talk to you, Ron. Later, buddy.
Later, guys.
Billy Sharp.